Hey folks, this is Ardwulf. Welcome. We have an unboxing video. This is a something I got in a deal, a shrink-wrapped copy of Great Battles of Alexander. This is the expanded deluxe edition, and one of the things I noticed was that in some places where this is getting sold, there's confusion over exactly which edition it is. So I've been when I was scouting for it, I kind of went by the pictures. So this is the one I wanted. This is the new one. This was released in 2014. It is loaded with stuff. So looking at the back of the box, there are, I think, 19 scenarios in here. So I've made the decision to get into the Great Battles of History series. And I've also, I think, pending some play on this stuff, made the decision to stick with the main rule set rather than simple Great Battles of History. Now, I'm not 100% firm on that yet. Great Battles of History is nominally easier. It is definitely said to be smoother and faster, but these are all tactical battles from mostly the ancient period. And none of these are like 50-hour games anyway, so I'm not sure that I care too much about whether it's a 3-hour or a 4-hour game, for example. Not that there aren't big battles in here. There's at least one real big battle in here, in fact. The biggest battle in the series, I think, is one of the ones from Hoplite, which I think came out last year and which is already out of print. So let's open this bad boy up. So we got high solitaire suitability. I'm prepared to agree with that. This GMT ranks it as a 7. Medium complexity. I'm not 100% sure I agree with that, but that's very arbitrary anyway, to be completely honest about it. So you go by what you feel about GMT's complexity ranking system. Nobody's complexity ranking system quite lines up with the way I would categorize that kind of thing. So big box, a lot of stuff. Let's see exactly what we have. Should be rather a lot. Okay, so we have a rule book. This is the cover of the original Great Battles of Alexander, actually from God, the early 90s maybe, something like that. This is a 44-page rule book. It's pretty close to all rules. This, of course, is a Mark Herman. Originally was a Mark Herman design, and then Richard Berg got involved with the second game in the series. There's probably some story behind that, but I don't know what it is. This is full color. It is a matte finish on reasonably heavy paper, I would say average for GMT. I don't know if I'd say quite lavishly illustrated, but offhand. Now, of course, I've been looking at the rules already. Not so much for Alexander, but for SBQR, which I've had for a little bit. So we have a scenario book. Now, this scenario book contains what looks like 12 scenarios from 358 BC to 326 BC. Not all of the battles in here feature Alexander personally. Oh, there's a big one, Gaugamela, which is an important battle for Alexander. I am not an expert on the Alexandrian period. Ooh, there's another big one. That's the Granicus. Looks like they're fighting across a river. Maybe not that big, actually. But there's some big stuff in here. Now, this also comes with a little bit weird-looking 10-sided die. Set that aside for now. This comes, one of the reasons why I wanted this version of the game is because it comes with most of the expansion material for Great Battles of Alexander. The exception is the Tyrant module, which has something like 8 or 10 battles in it. It's a big module, and it's the most highly sought after of the modules expanding Great Battles of Alexander. So this is Phalanx, and we have Diadokoi here. So Phalanx has 2 battles, 221 and 207. And to be completely honest, my knowledge of the period pretty much comes from owning this back in the day, although I never played it. Of course, I think that was the original deluxe edition. It wasn't the first edition. Diadokoi has 4 battles, including Gaza. Here's Rafi. Whoops, we just accidentally tore that a little bit. The Battle of... I totally did. Well, crap. So this is the Battle of Rafi. I think this is a big one. That is a double map. So yeah, it's pretty big. And that's like a 12-page book. So loaded with scenarios. This is actually why I tore it. This counter sheets are bagged. Not sure I've seen that. We'll look at the counter sheets in a minute. We've got some player aid cards. Here's a route point tracking card. I could see how this would be useful based on what I know about the system already. Here is errata and clarifications for Tyrant, which again doesn't come in the box, so I'm not totally clear on why they put this in there, but if you had Tyrant already, chances are pretty good you had the easier to find modules. Here is the player aid card proper, with movement costs, with the Clash of Spears and Shock Combat, Missile Combat, Shock Superiority chart, stacking. There's some relatively fiddly stacking rules in here. Here is what looks like a rules summary card, actually. This could come in handy. These are on quite thick cardstock, and we have a stack of maps. So let's set aside the player aid cards and take a look. So, of course, these are probably all... Nope, that's not double-sided. I expected it to be. So this is Mantinia. And there might be... Let's see. Yep, look at that. This is 2 maps, actually. Now, I'm going to probably split these. Salacia and Mantinia. We have the Granicus, so this will be a full-size map. Is this one double-sided? Yep, this one's double-sided. And on the flip side, we have what's trying not to rip the maps. Chironia. Here we have it looks like 4 maps total. The Isus. My pronunciation of that should be understood to be totally hypothetical. And here is what looks like, this is Gaugamela, what looks like a totally blank map. That's actually kind of neat, to be honest, but you know, that is typical of battles in the ancient period, fought in a lot of cases on, you know, in the open plains. This is not labeled in the corner. What is it? So this looks like 4 maps here. The Liginus, Arigaeum, Pelium, and something else. Now, how much of this you can actually see? This is the Gaugamela extension map, actually. So you're going to double up the battles on some of these maps. There's no question about that. So let's take a look at counter sheets, which come in this handy bag. I will repurpose this bag, actually, assuming I can get the counter sheets out without destroying it, which I hope will be possible. Now, of course, there are a substantial number of additional scenarios for many of the Great Battles of History games that are now on the C3 Ops Center. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so we have 5 full-size counter sheets, and these are on the thicker brown core GMT stock. So you notice we have some double-wide counters. I would imagine in this game, I haven't really looked at the counter sheets, that there's a lot of phalanx type units. Those are these double-wide counters. So here we have, oh geez, what looks like Greeks and Macedonians maybe. Here's some Athenians, Greek mercenaries. Here's some single-size counters and some markers. These would be Persians, it looks like. So one of the things that's kind of kept me stuck on this system, actually, is the fact that I don't understand, even now, the way the color coding is supposed to work. They are, to some extent, done by battle, but it's not like you can just separate the counters out for each battle and play like that. You can't really do that. You do double up the counters in many cases. We got some more markers here. These markers are used to mark cohesion hits and maybe something else. We have some more phalanxes, or phalanges. I looked that up. Along with some Indians, quite a few Indians actually. And we got some more, including Egyptians and Seleucids and Achaean League, maybe. We got some Spartans in a dark charcoal gray. I'm not sure how well that's coming out on the camera. So yeah, I'm super excited. So I'll mention that I've spent the last couple of weeks actually picking through SBQR Deluxe, which I've had for not quite a year, and I found it relatively challenging to sort out the count, to figure out how to organize the counters. I might do a video on that since it was so damn confusing. And I got it done, but in order to do it, I used 3 actually of the large container store trays, which I've shown in the storage solutions video series, so I can provide a link to those if anybody's interested in that. So because of the portability of this, I think there's a fairly good chance there might be some video on Great Battles of History, not necessarily for Alexander. I'm going to look at Alexander and then compare that to SPQR and then make a determination as to which one would be better to start with. There is a quote-unquote starter battle in SPQR Deluxe that lets you start with a relatively small number of units. Like I said, I'm inclined to go with a thick box too. I'm inclined to go with the full Great Battles of History rules, but I haven't made a final decision on that. That's just where I'm sitting right now. But I would like to try Simple Great Battles of History too, so we'll see how that works, but I want to get full system under my belt before I start confusing myself with the alternate systems. Put that back in the box. So, Great Battles of Alexander, the Macedonian Art of War, which is how BGG lists it. Check this out. There's a ton of value in this box. It is not hugely expensive. It is still in print, so if you're interested in this or in ancient battles, in general, ancient tactical, Great Battles of History is pretty much where it's at, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you can certainly get a lot of play value out of something like Commands and Colors Ancients. That's an excellent game. I recommend it. This is more for the serious wargamer, whereas I can go play Commands and Colors with my nephew. So we may do something with that in the near future. Actually almost played Commands and Colors Napoleonics over the weekend, but that did not in fact materialize. So Great Battles of Alexander Deluxe looks great. It's going to take me quite a while to take this apart and organize it. So I will see you then. Thanks for watching.